Okay, so here's our screen which has just been shot for the new film. So there's the detail of that film. Can you come in on that, please, Rob? And this is the screen we've used. It's just one out of the darkroom, so it's not a particularly perfect screen or anything like that. It's certainly not a new screen. If you have a look at this screen, you can sort of see all the shadows and stuff in the background. It does not really matter, right? Because what we're after is the image to be clean. So technically this is much cleaner than the one I just printed on the front, right? But I just sort of used the same film, so you got the idea, right? And this one's actually slightly smaller. This is back to 30 centimeters. That's our left-hand side breast, and this is the inside label. And this is what I was saying about. The inside label is printed the same way up, the same orientation as the big one, right? And it sort of confuses people. But what it's about is, so this is how we just printed the other two shirts. And so we printed them like that. We printed the front onto those two shirts. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the machine around like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the same screen, but we're going to turn the screen around. And so we're still going to use the same registration points and all that sort of thing, but we're going to come in like this. And so this part of the screen is going to land here. And this is the whole key to it, right? And so we know about our inks, which we'll get up in a second anyway. And we know about our screen, right? So here it is, so that's where this is going to land. And so I would never do this normally, right? But I need the contrast for the video, so I'm going to just use white paper to show you that I'm blocking out these other parts, right? So it's for a video, so I'm only going to actually print two. But normally I would use a piece of acetate, or I'd just use pure tape, like we did earlier for the left-hand side breast. But it's like this is really just making it so what we're doing is we're isolating all open colorways from the printed area, which is all we're printing is this inside label. And it's like I've got a couple of people waiting for this video, so I'm going to be pretty stoked. We're going to try and get it up tomorrow. And if it doesn't go up tomorrow, we'll have it by Tuesday. I won't tell you the date, just in case I really balls it up. But I'm trying to get out a video to everybody, or two, and a really good newsletter. But it's all about coordinating that sort of thing, right? But okay, so just so you see this one, which is the left-hand side breast image, I'll just tape over it. Truth is, I'm also in a real hurry trying to get to hockey practice. Or at least take somebody to hockey practice. The hockey player's holding the camera, right? Anyway, so everything here is blocked out. Can you get good light underneath that? Except for our label. And for anybody that wants this file, I'm really quite happy to send the file down to you, so you can put your image, your left-hand side breast over your main caption piece, your inside labels over the top of my file. Then you just like turn off my layer, and then you've got yours, right? But so just so you see this, so we're upside down. We're still using exactly the same rego points, therefore we know where it's all going to land. Then it comes down to these magic little pads, right? Now these magic little pads, over the years we've made these out of everything. This is PE2 wall paneling, but you can use core flute, you can even use cardboard. If you get a really good thick like piece of cardboard like this, is really good for exposing, for coating like smaller screens too, right? I know guys that have worked with sheets of cardboard like this and perspex to coat the screens for years. But anyway, so you just cut the same size, you get it, you might cut 5 of them, stick them to each other, but basically you're after a piece. And they vary, right? And I've also used these same sort of pad idea for when you're doing left-hand side breasts on polo shirts, because then all the buttons and stuff like that fall away from the actual printed area, so therefore you get a clean strike and a squeegee. So it's the same theory, right? So here's our inside label, and here's our pad. Now I know, just because I've done so many of these, that pretty much you sit it on my baseline, and that's where my pad sits. And when I come back to it and I'm in rego, my image is sitting on top of the pad. So if you sort of see, I don't know if you can see that, but that's spongy, right? Because we're on top of the pad. So the pad starts about there and finishes there. Now, if I wanted to get really, really clever, I just move that up a centimetre or two, because I know I'm centered on it. Now I'm not going to pretend this is just like really, really easy, because a lot of people say, yeah, but you're in the shop and you've got all this gear, and it's true, I have. And that's for why we go through these videos, because then we truly work out what you guys need, as opposed to having all the equipment. But so that's it. If you take one photo of that, because then I'll just grab a shirt. Yeah? Okay. So there's our film, there's our screen, and I'll just grab a shirt. So just so everybody's got it in their mind, I've just measured this up. I actually just cut a centimetre off it myself. But we're pretty like that around here, and you sort of cut off a squeegee. You'll see how even crooked that is, right? I did it in the vise by myself. But what we'll do is we'll do the print with a cut down squeegee plus a regular squeegee like you would have got in your kit. But just so everybody knows, with these pads, right, you can bluff this out of anything. We will sell a really neatly cut 10 centimetre by 8 centimetre pad if you guys want. But also, that's one good one if you're going to bluff it out of cardboard or something like that. It's a good size. Now I'm going to pretty much put myself in a position, and it's got a fair stick to it. You notice I'm not putting any glue on this. You can put glue on it or not. It's entirely up to you. Because it's a one colour, generally because you're pulling one stroke across it, it's not going to really move. But I'm not going to say with other ideas you might come up with that it's not going to do it. But what's important here is that it's up high, and it allows us to drop the collar off to the edge. And what it is it's like, doesn't matter if it's got a bit of sponge in it or not, but it's up high and it's large enough for us to land on there with the graphic. And so if you think about this for a left-hand side breast with a polo shirt, seams and buttons and everything dropping off the side of the graphic, it's exactly the same thing. And you might also think about it like almost like a platen, or if you put a board inside a tote bag or anything like that, right? This is the same theory. All it's about is dropping the seams off the side so that we actually get a really clean stroke. And so if you focus on here, Rob. Now this Gildan shirt we just printed on a second ago, so this one, has got a tearaway label, which I'm pretty sure I just mentioned. So there's the front label that tears away. So that's their brand is torn off. And several brands do this, right? So it's worth asking about. This is really valuable. This is why it's valuable, because here we still have the size and wash instructions, and on the back there's more wash instructions, right? And so this shirt is still completely legal. Like, you could bring any lawyer to this sort of shirt, and this still has all the requirements on it of a professional product. But what we're going to do now is we're now removing Gildan brand, and we're going to put my brand on it, because this is my shirt and I designed it, right? Okay, so there's your pad, and so I put my collar just above it. I bring my collar down, right? I push my shirt down a little bit so it's flat. And this happens often. Like, you sort of get used to moving around these, but a really good rule is you just put the steel ruler on the label like that if you haven't had them torn out beforehand. And that's pretty much all it is, right? So all my seams are dropped over the size of that pad, and the rule is just holding the label up. And so therefore I come in with my screen, go into the corner, same registration corner, the three faces, right? The three faces marked in X, as is on everybody's machine, right? This is the registration system that works for everything we do, right? And so then my screen just goes down. And so this screen is on top of the pad, which now has the cotton between it when the collar has dropped out over the side of the pad, regardless of what that pad's made of. So here's our ink we made up earlier. And I'll just put a bit on. We're only got to do a couple of shirts, and so it's not going to be a particular long print in terms of the paper will get wet, and it will leak, right? But it's like, because we're only going to do a couple, it doesn't matter. So I'll do the black shirt, I'll do the big shirt in a regular size squeegee, and I'll just do this small one so you get the idea. And it's not unusual to do labels and stuff like that just with a piece of rubber. Right, but the idea is, here we've got ink on here. I'm going to come through, I'm just going to do one nice stroke. And the reason we've done this contrast of this grey versus the other dark grey is because you still get the brand idea. I'm just going on that rock. And so that's what it is. So now we hit that with a heat gun, and now we're branded. So it's got my website on it, it's got designed and printed in Australia, wash it like you made it, wear it like you love it. And it's the sort of thing where you can do whatever you like on there. My first ever label was wash it like you wash a t-shirt. Yeah, you can be as cheeky as you like, and this is a good place to be cheeky, right? Because this is all about brand experience. And when it's hanging on the coat hanger in the shop, that's what people see. Now I'm a really big fan for removing the labels altogether, right, and just having your brand there, and you sort of get better at it as you go. Right, but okay, so I'm going to put this one aside, and we're going to do the next one, which is the black. So this is a Ramo shirt, really nice, good shirt. So I'm just going to put the collar over the back. I'm going to pull this collar down, so it's underneath, and I'm going to just put this up, put the label on. And for this one, I'm going to use a regular squeegee so that you guys know that you've got this in your kit, right? So we'll just move the small one away. Regular squeegee, it's not as good, right? Because it's a bit big. But we're only going to do one hit, right? That's all it needs, right? One good solid hit. And there you have the same ink on the black. So that sort of really shows you this story, right? So now we're starting to look like we're really branding our stuff. And so this is the same ink on the black and on the white. And so it's based off the Permaset Super Cover White is the base, and we've just dropped a little bit of black ink into it just to tint it off. So it's the same ink on both shirts, so black and white. And when this goes through the heat setter, or you hit it with your heat gun or out on your line to dry, this is what we call hanger value. This is all about hanger value. So when this is sitting on a coat hanger in a shop, people read your brand and they want to read your stuff. This is the stuff that elevates a shirt to pretty much into $40 an item category, and depends on your design. Like, you know, some really big super rock and roll motorcycle brands in this city that will sell this for 80, right? Without saying any names, because my lawyers are just not good enough. But technically they actually are. But anyway, that's what the product is. It's all about hanger value. And I hope that gets you past your, I know there's 2 or 3 people waiting for this video right now. I hope this sort of tells the story. And if you guys need a short squeegee and a pad, tell me and I'll send one down. Take it easy, everybody.